Hey everyone, today I'm going to be ranking the Mad Max movies. There are only 5 of them. The newest one came out earlier this year, but I'm just going to put out a general spoiler alert. Starting off, number 5 is Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. This one is not bad. It's perfectly fine. It's good. It's not great. It has a lot of issues, but it's good. Main issue is it feels like it takes place in the same universe as the first 2, but it doesn't feel like a Mad Max movie, if that makes sense. It feels like the Mad Max movie at the beginning, when he still has the car, and then he's brought into Tina Turner's place, and there's the whole thing with the kids, and again, it feels like it's in the same universe as the first 2 movies. It just doesn't feel like it's Mad Max, aside from the character himself, who is still very much the same character. The acting is pretty solid across the board. Mel Gibson, piece of shit he may be, is a talented man, and he's good in this movie. Tina Turner, for a singer, puts in a surprisingly good performance.
Call it Underworld. That's where Buttertown gets its energy.
What, oil, natural gas?
Pigs.
You mean pigs like those?
That's right.
Bullshit.
Pig shit.
What?
Pig shit. The lights, the motors, the vehicles, all run by a high-powered gas called methane. Methane comes from pig shit.
Have a look. Tell me what you see.
I see a big guy giving a little guy a piggyback.
It's a shame Tina Turner didn't do a lot of acting, because this movie proved that she could, in fact, act. The whole thing with the kids is my biggest problem with this movie. I like it. It's fun. And I also find it hilarious how they just stubbornly refuse to accept that Max is not their savior. I honestly think that is both kind of realistic and also just hilarious. However, that feels more out of place in the Mad Max universe than all the shit in Thunderdome. A lot of problems, but still worth a watch. My score is 3 out of 5. Number 4 is Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. I have 2 problems with this movie. Firstly, because it is a prequel, we know that Furiosa will survive, and we know that she will lose her arm. So anytime she's put in danger otherwise, there's no tension. Secondly, the visuals. They used a lot more CGI in this movie, and it's fine. Most of the CGI is good here. Fury Road had the one bit of CGI early on that looked like ass. And everything else is practical, I think. This movie has mostly practical with more CGI mixed in, and some of the CGI is great, and some of it not so much. It's mostly green screen that doesn't look that good. There's a lot of green screen that just doesn't quite look right, and it's a little distracting. Aside from that, this is a great fucking movie. Anya Taylor-Joy was damn near perfect casting for a young Charlize Theron. Like all good prequels, this movie circumvents the "we know certain characters will survive" problem by introducing new characters and actually getting you to care about them. This is where we get into spoilers. I don't even remember if they identify Praetorian Jack by name in the movie. They might have, I don't remember. But even if they don't, we still come to care about him and his bond with Furiosa. So when he dies, we actually care. As Filmento talked about in his video on this movie is like a textbook example of how to elevate your action scenes. The action never plays out at surface level. There is always something more going on. There is always something elevating it. Something to help it stand out, whether it's the Bombie Knockers, I think they're called, the Hang Gliders, which we have never seen before in this franchise and are awesome. to the whole sequence with Furiosa going back to save Jack. Like, that is absolutely the kind of thing where I legitimately thought she would just leave, and she didn't. If there's one thing that can make your hero easier to root for, it's determination. Where this movie succeeds the most is the world building. This movie takes elements that were established in Mad Max Fury Road, but never really explored much because balls to the wall, and it actually explores them more. Like, we get to see the Bullet Farm, we get to see Gastown, and we get to spend more time with those characters, and also with a younger Immortan Joe and his fucked up kids. One of my favorite things in movies is when you have two separate villains fighting each other. Because depending on the character and all that, the heroes will sometimes hold back and sometimes spare the villain. But when you have two different villains fighting each other, they don't hold back. They go all in. I love that we get to see Dementis interacting with the younger versions of these established characters. It's very cool to see their dynamics and how they are just immediately hostile towards each other. And that as soon as Dementis tries to threaten Immortan Joe just makes it perfectly clear, if you go to war with me, you will fucking lose.
You are awaited.
Witness me!
Among us are 972 devout warriors. Any one of them, if chosen, would have done the same. Each would die historic for the Immortan Joe. That's why, you fools.
Hold it, you fool! You fools! 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 Fools!
Silence, you old fool!
You poor, simple fools.
You pitiful, insignificant fool!
No, fool, we're gonna kill him.
Roger, you are a fool.
You're all fools for coming here.
And so Dementis, very wisely, turns around and fucks off. The score is 4 out of 5. Number 3 is the original Mad Max. This movie just has that low-budget grittiness. Grittiness is the wrong word, but I can't think of a better word, so we'll just go with that for now. The realism, kind of. Like, you could tell this did not have much of a budget, but they made every Australian dollar count. The action is pretty damn good, considering this is a low-budget action movie from 1979. The best part of this movie is Hugh Keays-Byrne as Toe Cutter.
Poor bastard.
The Knight Rider. That is his name. The Knight Rider.
The Knight Rider.
Remember him when you look at the night sky.
I will.
Take your hat off.
Anything you say.
Anything I say. What a wonderful philosophy you have. Take him away.
He is a fantastic villain. Hugh Keays-Byrne puts his whole ass into his performance. He absolutely understood the assignment. I mean, there's a reason that George Miller brought this man back to play Immortan Joe 36 years later. This movie has some small problems, little things that don't make sense, little plot conveniences, but overall, just the aesthetic and the acting and the atmosphere that is created, it all makes up for it. It's a great fucking movie. Score is 4 out of 5. Alright, moment of truth. Number 2 is Mad Max 2: The Road Warrior. This movie set the standard for action scenes. The plot is a little thin, but that is also the case with most of these movies, so it's fine. You have Mel Gibson giving his, I would say, his best performance as Max Rokitansky. You have a great villain in the form of Lord Humongous.
The Ayatollah of rock and roller!
I'm gravely disappointed. Again you have made me unleash my dogs of war. Look at what remains of your gallant scouts. Why? Because you're selfish. You hoard your gasoline. You will not listen to reason. Now, my prisoners say, you plan to take your gasoline out of the wasteland.
You have genuinely one of the best action set pieces ever put to film, with all of Humongous's people attacking the transport truck. It's like, what, 20 minutes long, I think, and it's a genuinely fantastic set piece that never gets boring. Like, even back in 1981, George Miller understood how to take a long action sequence and make it not feel long. I would say the musical score is the best of the first three movies. It's pretty freaking great. The writing is, I would also say, probably the best of the first three movies. And yeah, I mean, this movie is a classic for a reason. My score is 4.5 out of 5. Finally, number 1 is Mad Max Fury Road. Road Warrior set the standard, and then this movie raised the bar. It's very similar to The Road Warrior. It follows a few of the same beats, but overall it is its own beast, and a beast is exactly what this movie is. At its core, this movie is basically just one long car chase with a few little breaks in between. It works spectacularly. And even more so than the second and third movies, Max is kind of a supporting protagonist. Where, like, his name's in the title, but, like, he's not really the main character. He gets his development, but also Furiosa gets her development, Nux gets development, at least some of the wives get development. There's more character growth here than you might think. Furiosa's action was great.
He would be of great use to Vegeta. My son, the Planetor Me. Yes!
But it was still like a small step down from the action in this movie. This movie is action perfection.
I got it!
Any small flaws you can find are, well, they're valid, but also, like, they're just nothing compared to just all of the things that this movie does right. The acting is solid across the board. The musical score is fucking legendary. The cinematography is fantastic. The editing. Pretty sure George Miller said that he didn't want this movie to feel like a regular action movie, so he didn't hire a regular action movie director. He had his wife do the editing, and she won a goddamn Oscar for the editing in this movie, so well done. My score is 5 out of 5. Hey everyone, what's your ranking? Let me know down in the comments. Do you agree? Do you have Furiosa over the original? Do you have Road Warrior over Fury Road? Do you have Thunderdome not in last place? Let me know down in the comments. Like, subscribe, and all that. If you don't like the video, tell me why, try to be constructive, and then, you know what, subscribe anyway. Why not? You'll be notified when I upload a new video. Watch that and tell me why that one sucks. Or, you know, if you're feeling generous, tell me where I've improved. That's all for now. Stay safe in these crazy times.